He pulled over when he saw the woman stranded on Route 66 with an empty tank. "Need help?" he offered without looking directly at her face. When she lifted her eyes and saw who it was, the world stopped. It was him, the man she had abandoned years ago, right there, helping her of all people. Before you watch, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Need help? The male voice cut through the silence of the empty highway. She could barely lift her eyes, shame weighing heavier than the scorching Arizona sun overhead. "My car. I think it's the gas." When she finally faced the man offering help through his truck window, the air left her lungs. Her blood ran cold. That face, those eyes. 6 years had passed, but she would never forget. It was him, the same man who waited alone at the church, the same one she left behind without explanation, without courage, without goodbye. The silence between them stretched like the empty road around them. He recognized her instantly. She saw it in his eyes, in the way his jaw tightened, in the breath that hesitated for a split second. "I have a spare gallon in the trunk." His voice sounded controlled, almost neutral, but she knew that tone. It was the tone he used when fighting an inner storm. Always carry one. Empty highways and a small child don't mix. That's when she noticed through the rearview mirror, a car seat in the back. He had a child. As he got out and walked to the trunk, a sleepy little voice echoed, "Daddy." A little boy appeared in the window, hair messy from sleep, small eyes blinking against the bright light. "It's okay, son. Daddy's helping a lady. Go back to sleep." But the boy was awake now, and childhood curiosity was stronger than tiredness. "E." The shy little voice came toward her. She waved, her throat too tight to respond with words. The boy must have been about 3 years old. Messy brown hair, an innocent smile that broke her heart. He started filling her tank in silence. The sound of gasoline pouring was the only noise besides the hot wind sweeping the road. "Thank you." She finally managed to speak, her voice weak. "How much do I owe you?" He shook his head without looking at her. "Nothing." Pause. "Just, why?" The question he'd held for 6 years finally escaped. Simple, direct, devastating. She took a deep breath. The words that had been choking her for so long needed to come out. "I was pregnant." The gallon almost fell from his hand. He froze, turned slowly, eyes wide. "Pregnant? But I found out a month before the wedding." The words came fast now, stumbling over each other, as if she feared losing courage at any moment. "I panicked completely, didn't know what to do, was afraid of trapping you, of ruining your life. You had so many dreams."
"Daddy, I'm Festi."
The boy's little voice interrupted. He closed his eyes for a moment. "Just a minute, Mason." Mason. The boy had a name now that made him even more real. He turned back to her, jaw tense. "So you ran away without giving me the chance to choose, to decide my own life?" The words were bitter as poison. "I thought I was protecting you, that you'd stay with me out of obligation, out of pity. I was in my early 20s and terrified." Tears flowed freely down her face now. Running away was better? The hurt in his voice was palpable. "I was a coward. Completely. You left me waiting at the church. My mom cried so much she fainted. My dad had to call an ambulance. All the guests looking at me with pity. And you think running away protected me from what exactly?" Each word was a blade.
"I'm sorry."
"I have no excuse. I was selfish. I was terrible. And the baby?" He interrupted, still processing. "What happened to the baby?" She pointed with her head toward her own car. He approached and looked through the back window. A girl was sleeping in the seat, brown hair spread out, the angelic face of innocence. "She's 5 years old." Her voice was almost a whisper. He studied the child's face. His features were there. The shape of the face, the nose, the curve of the eyebrows. "Is she mine?" The question escaped before he could stop it. "She's yours. Always has been. I was just too afraid to tell you." He stepped back, running his hand over his face. He laughed. A bitter laugh without humor. Seems we have that in common then, being abandoned. She frowned. Mason there, he pointed to his son in the back seat. His mother left when he was 6 months old, said she wasn't born to be a mother, that she felt trapped. Left a note on the table and disappeared. No warning, no looking back. The boy, oblivious to the heavy adult conversation, was playing with a stuffed dinosaur, making roaring sounds. "I'm sorry," she said, and it was sincere. "Nobody deserves that, especially a child." He shrugged. "I learned to deal with it. Mason and I manage fine, right, champ?" The boy held up the dinosaur. "Daddy makes the best mac and cheese in the world." The childish pride momentarily broke the tension. Even she managed a weak smile. The girl in her car started moving, waking to the voices. "Mommy!" "It's okay, honey. Go back to sleep." But the girl was already rubbing her eyes, looking around confused. She saw the boy in the other vehicle. The two looked at each other with that natural childhood curiosity. Mason waved. The girl waved back, still shy with sleep. "What's her name?" he asked, eyes still fixed on the child. "Emma," she answered. "M for close friends. Emma." He repeated the name as if tasting the sound of it. Beautiful name. His phone rang. "Hello, Dad." His expression changed immediately. "What? When? Got it. I'm heading there now." He hung up, worried. "My dad's in the hospital. Fell off a ladder fixing the roof. Hit his head." He quickly finished emptying the gallon into her tank. "Seems it's not serious, but I need to go." He hesitated, looking at Emma one more time. "My dad. He always asked about you all these years. Never stopped asking when you'd come back." The information weighed like lead in her chest. "It's St. Luke's Hospital. In case you..." Well, he didn't complete the sentence. "Daddy, I need to pee." Mason chose exactly that moment to announce, squirming uncomfortably in his car seat. The reality of solo parenting imposed itself over the drama of the moment. "Can you hold it till the hospital, son?" The boy shook his head emphatically, the urgency visible. "I can't." There was no gas station, no bathroom, nothing but empty highway and brush on both sides. "All right, come on, let's go over there quick." He took Mason out of the car seat and held the boy. "Excuse me," he said to her, genuinely embarrassed, and walked with his son to a more distant bush. The scene was both comical and deeply touching. A father alone, caring for his son, dealing with life's practical urgencies while his heart still bled from reopened wounds. Emma woke up completely while they waited. "Who are they, Mommy?" How to explain. How to put 6 years of wrong decisions into words a child could understand. "Old acquaintances." The vague answer seemed sufficient. "The boy seems nice." When they returned, Mason was chattering, animated. "Dad, I saw a lizard. It was this big." He showed with his little hands the exaggerated size. It was leaf-colored and everything. Even Emma laughed at his excitement. "We better go," he said, putting Mason back in the car seat. Before getting in the vehicle, he turned to her one last time. "You changed your last name. That's why I could never find you. It wasn't a question. I went back to my mom's maiden name, wanted to start over." He nodded, understanding more than she expected. "I moved to a different city for the same reason. Start over away from the memories." They stood there, 6 years of hurt and unasked questions weighing in the air. Mason and Emma kept looking at each other through the vehicle windows. "Bye," Mason shouted, waving enthusiastically. "Bye," Emma responded, equally animated. "Children," he commented, a sad smile on his lips. "They make everything seem so simple. If only we could see the world the way they do." She agreed. He got in the vehicle, started the engine. Before leaving, he rolled down the window. "Take care of her. I know how hard it is to do this alone." The word alone had extra weight, a shared meaning. She was too emotional to respond as his vehicle drove away down the highway. Kicking up dust, Emma asked, "Mommy, why are you crying?" She quickly wiped her face. "Just emotions, honey. Let's go home." But 15 minutes later, She found herself taking the exit to St. Luke's Hospital. She couldn't explain exactly why. Maybe it was for the old man who always treated her with such affection. Maybe it was for the child who never knew her grandfather. Maybe it was something deeper she didn't yet have the courage to admit. "We're going to visit a sick gentleman," she explained to Emma. "He's nice, very nice, the nicest you can imagine." In the parking lot, she took a deep breath. She was about to reopen wounds she'd spent 6 years trying to heal at the hospital entrance. She stopped. How would she find the room? She decided to do something she hadn't done in years. She called him. The number was still saved on her phone. She never had the courage to delete it. "Hello?" His voice sounded surprised seeing the name on the screen. "I'm here at the hospital. Can I visit your dad?" Silence on the other end. "Third floor, room 312. He'll be very happy to see you." He hung up without more words. I end the elevator. Emma held her hand. "Is he the boy's grandpa?" The innocent question squeezed her heart. "Yes, sweetheart." In the third-floor hallway, she saw them through the half-open door. Mason was sitting on the bed next to his grandpa, showing the stuffed dinosaur. "And then Rex ate everything." The old man laughed despite the bandage on his head. "What a greedy dinosaur." She knocked on the door. "Come in," he answered. When his father saw her, his eyes immediately welled up. "My God, you came." She approached the bed. "How are you, sir?" The old man squeezed her hand tightly. "Better now. Always knew you two would see each other again. Always knew." Mason jumped off the bed and ran to them. "Ing, you came." Emma was surprised the boy remembered her name. "Want to see my dinosaur?" Soon the two children were in the corner of the room, Mason explaining in detail about every type of dinosaur he knew, and Emma listening fascinated. The old man watched the children with a special sparkle in his eyes. "Look at that," he murmured to his son. "They're already friends." He studied Emma for a long time, then looked at him. "She looks a lot like you when you were little. Same eyes, same expression." Embarrassment took over the room. "Dad," he started, but the old man cut him off. 6 years, son. 6 years waiting for this moment." He lowered his voice. "I had a private exam here at the hospital. I'll be fine. Just need to stay under observation today." He looked significantly at the children. Mason asks every day why he doesn't have siblings or cousins. Now he has a little friend. From the corner of the room they heard Mason. "Wanna draw?" Emma nodded. "I didn't bring my crayons." Mason ran to his dad. "Dad, can I borrow your little notebook?" He always carried a small pad and pen in his pocket. Soon the children were scribbling together on the floor. Mason making shapes he called dinosaurs, and Emma trying to copy. "Does she get along well with other kids?" he asked quietly. Actually, she's quite shy, has difficulty making friends. But with Mason she didn't finish. The instant connection between them was evident. Mason too. The teacher always comments he prefers playing alone. But look at them. The children laughed, completely at ease, as if they'd been friends for a lifetime. "Have you thought about doing the test?" The old man asked directly, no beating around the bush. "Don't need to," she said quietly. She's his daughter. Always knew. Was just too afraid to tell him back then. The old man nodded, understanding. Before they could process the conversation, Mason came running. "Grandpa, look!" He showed scribbles on paper. "It's all of us." The childish drawing showed 5 stick figures. Mason pointed to each one. "This is you, Grandpa. This is me, this is Em. This is Em's mom, and this is Daddy. All together." The innocence of including everyone in the same family was both touching and painful. "Beautiful, my grandson," the old man said, his voice thick. Emma came to show her shyly. "They're flowers for you to feel better." Circular scribbles that only childhood imagination could transform into flowers. The old man was genuinely moved. "Thank you, dear. I'll keep them forever." The children went back to drawing. "They deserve to grow up close to each other," the old man said quietly. "Even if you adults have your complications, Children aren't to blame for the choices we make. I think we should go, she interrupted, realizing where the conversation was heading. Let's go.
No, ma'am.
A little longer. Both children protested in unison. Yeah, Miss Sarah, a little longer, Mason supported. The Miss Sarah sounded natural and painful. How about this? He proposed, hesitant. Saturday, there's a 4th of July festival at Central Park. I always take Mason. If you happen to be there. He left the invitation hanging, no pressure. Mason jumped excited. There'll be games and cotton candy. Do you like cotton candy? Emma nodded enthusiastically. I love it. The children immediately started planning everything they'd do at the festival. We don't want to intrude, she said, but was cut off by the old man. Intrude? Look at the joy of these children. Life's too short to waste opportunities. He looked meaningfully at the bandage on his own head. Today I learned that the hard way. The argument was impossible to rebut. The goodbye. Mason hugged Emma without ceremony. Saturday we'll eat cotton candy together. Emma returned the hug. And popcorn. Mason looked amazed at his dad. There's popcorn too? The adults smiled despite everything. Yes, son. The children cheered together. Text me, he said quietly to her while the children still talked animatedly. To arrange the time. For the kids to meet up. She nodded. Both knew it wasn't just for the children, but it was easier to pretend it was. In the elevator, Emma held the drawing Mason had made. Mommy, is Mason going to be my best friend? The simple question carried the weight of everything that could be. Let's see, my love. But she already knew she'd show up on Saturday, and that she'd send the message. Because after 6 years running from the past, maybe it was time to stop running. Not for her, not for him, but for two children who found in each other the friendship they didn't know they needed. Saturday came. They met at Central Park. The children played. The adults talked. The old man smiled, watching his family finally come together. And for the first time in 6 years, the future didn't look scary. It looked full of hope. Because sometimes, the best stories aren't about perfect people. They're about broken people who find the courage to try again. One day at a time. One choice at a time. One step at a time. The end.